Welcome to Cape Breton， 欢迎到卡普敦岛来。
Jilida ug Unamagig.
Bienvenue à Cabatan.
Felcha, gu Cape Breton.
Tuloy po kayo dito sa Cape Breton.
أهلا بكم نورتم Cape Breton.
Welcome to Cape Breton and willkommen in Cape Breton.
Gianu, Cape Breton.
Cape Breton Island की मीको स्वागतम.
Wagwan Cape Bretoners.
Welcome to Cape Breton. I'm your host, Norma Jean McPhee Zink. Yep, that's a handful of a name. I grew up and lived in Sydney for most of my life. Then 4 years ago, I fell in love and now happily live in River Bourgeois, hence the Zink addition to my name. Storytelling in Cape Breton is as old as the first people living here. You come across any house on any street on the island, you're going to hear a story. This podcast aims to reflect the stories of people who have newly arrived to Cape Breton Unama'ki, along with the efforts of the people across the island dedicated to welcoming them to their new home. This Welcome to Cape Breton podcast is an initiative of the Cape Breton Partnership, and it's for people curious about the evolving community landscape of the island. As an economic development entity, the Cape Breton Partnership believes in working with all partners across Unama'ki to create welcoming, productive, and prosperous communities. I started working with the Cape Breton Partnership 3 years ago as an events coordinator, but that was just a few weeks before the pandemic hit. So, with few events to plan, I was asked to coordinate a brand new program called the Cape Breton Welcome Network. During that time, I met so many wonderful people doing such amazing work and deciding to move here for a myriad of reasons, so telling some of these stories was an obvious next step. In this first episode of the Welcome to Cape Breton podcast, we'll join in the celebrations of the annual Hindu festival called Navratri. We'll also hear from the perspective of those who have been welcoming people to these shores for centuries. We are all treaty people, and many of us, indeed most of us, are settlers to Cape Breton. We'll chat with a Mi'kmaq educator who continues to welcome newcomers amidst the work of reconciliation, or what many are now calling reconciliation. First, we head just a few blocks from where I grew up and where my parents still live. It's a Sunday evening in October. Volunteers are busy decorating an elementary school in Sydney for the evening celebration. I'm here too, with my mom. They're expecting a big crowd. Food vendors are setting up in the hallways, and welcome signs are going up.
So we don't have to use tables.
Ankit Wadwa meets Mom and I with his kind, bright smile. He told me about this event when we met a few weeks before. In fact, it was my mom who first told me about Ankit, as she'd heard about the work he was doing to welcome new students, and Mom connected it with the work I was doing with the Cape Breton Partnership.
How is it going, getting ready for this evening?
It's hectic. It's nervous. It's it's scary, but I think we will get through it.
Ankit arrived in Cape Breton a year ago, and already he's making an impact. He's a student at Cape Breton University and is one of the founders, along with his friends Monica and Ashwin, of a group called the Cape Breton Influencers.
The big goal, the big picture that we look at, as when we moved here, both Monica and I, we fell in love with Sydney. We were like, okay, Sydney is great. And then we were trying to connect with people. We're like, what would you do in Sydney if you want to live here? And they're like, no, we are moving back. Everyone wanted to move back to Halifax or to big areas. And I'm like, okay, so you're only here for 2 years and you go back, then what validation we give back to the community? And that's what we thought about is, what can we do to have people want to stay back, especially international students, and Cape Breton Island is a beautiful place to be. And we thought we are missing that youngsters part here. And if we can make them stay back here and create a sense of belonging among them. And then we looked into deeper and saw that the reason people do not stay back is because they never connect with communities. They're among themselves, they're within the university level or just part of their thing itself, and never go out and connect with people from the local community or part of the events there. So we thought, what if we bridge that gap and create a platform to be able to have international students and even newcomers connect with the community early on rather than wait for 2 years after they graduate. And if they do that in the next 2 years, they might fall in love with the island and they want to stay back. So kind of like stop the brain drain that is happening from that island. And that was the initial thought of we should do something about it. And that's how we did. Like, we want to be able to do more events. We want to be able to do more social networking gatherings so we can have a bigger network of people to connect and reach out to.
Awesome. And obviously coming from, like I said, the hat I used to wear as the coordinator of the Welcome Network for the island, that is exactly the goal overall. I think it's just so great that more and more people are seeing the benefit of everybody connecting together and learning from each other and with each other and truly everybody calling here home. So
yes, no, it's really important. It's like it takes time to call a new place your home, but if you fell in love with the place and if you fell in love with the people around, you can call it home, right? If the people accept you and you accept the people, then it's your home. So that's what we're trying to do. And as you mentioned, like, Welcome Networks have been there, and CBICI, Cape Breton Partnership. So we're working with them as well to get better reach within the community, because if we start from scratch, it will take us a long time to get there. But if we can partner up with the communities which are already in place, that can help us grow and connect at a larger scale.
The Navratri Festival is one of those opportunities for the local community to join in, where those connections can be made.
Today is like we are celebrating, it's a festival of dance. So actually, what we have in India is like Navratri, the name of festival. We celebrate it for 9 days. So Navratri, in Hindi, Nav means 9. So it's for 9 days. That's why it's Navratri. And each day is dedicated towards a particular goddess. So we have 9 goddess, 9 forms of goddess. So it's called Navratri. And then each night after the prayer, we dance.
Rudraksh is a student at Cape Breton University and one of the helpers. I tried my best with limited success to say his name properly.
My name is Rudraksh. RP, you can call me RP. The initials of my name. Yeah, same, yeah. Because Rudraksh is very difficult for you. Rudraksh. Yeah, that's why RP is good.
Sorry.
Yeah.
One more time.
Rudraksh.
Rudraksh.
Yeah. It's KSH in the end.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Ksha. Rudraksh. That the Ksha word is difficult for you.
Rudraksh.
Rudra.
Rudra.
Ksha.
Sh.
Yeah, Rudraksh.
Rudraksh.
99% correct. Yeah.
In the gym, the MCs for the evening did a land acknowledgement and then invited the Sons of Membertou to the stage.
LOC Grand Marshal, Nusby Sons of Membertou. And on behalf of the Mi'kmaq Nation, and on behalf of everybody in the territory, Waldazi Dandel Vegidayo, Wala Navalonum, Wadit. I want to thank, and we are very honored to be here at your event. And I want to give thanks, and I want to be, and we're very honored of the land acknowledgement from our brothers and sisters here. And we are truly grateful. And through here in this territory, the Maritimes, the hospitality is known internationally. It has been said by the Mi'kmaq Nation that whoever crossed these waters, that we welcome them with open arms and open hearts. And that has been our virtue that we set to every person that landed on these shores for the past 500 years. And that virtue has become internationally known as our maritime hospitality. And tonight is no different. We are welcoming our brothers and sisters across the big water and welcome them here into our territory. In Mi'kmaq, it's called Msidnogama. Walalio, thank you for all my relations. And in your language that I am learning, it's the same as that. Pariwo me swagat he. Welcome to our family.
After hearing Graham's enthusiastic welcome, I knew I wanted to catch up with him to talk some more. I also knew I didn't want to do a podcast about welcoming newcomers to Cape Breton without talking to someone whose ancestors were the first welcomers here. So I met up with Graham in Member 2 First Nation. He's a band counselor there and also works for the Nova Scotia Indigenous Tourism Enterprise Network. Turns out Graham and I are the same age, and we went to elementary and junior high school together. We initially met below the huge, beautiful Dreamcatcher in the atrium on the second floor of the convention center. But after the fourth person came over to talk to Graham, within just a 5-minute span, we eventually decided we should move to the boardroom for the interview. Why did you think it was important to take part in that event? Or why did you say yes, I guess, when you were asked?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's always important, especially, the influx of international students coming to Cape Breton. As Mi'kmaq people, it's really our duty that, since time immemorial, we've been welcoming the world. And these students is no different to making sure that we welcome each and every one with open arms, but also to educate and tell them of our nation here in Mi'kma'ki, and also in particular of our district of Unama'ki, which is Cape Breton Island, and it's so very dear and to our hearts that we want to make sure that that they are very well settled here and feel really comfortable coming to Unama'ki.
And how did you first, or when did you first meet Ankit?
So yeah, Ankit is an amazing human. He's involved in so much with the students and also with the community as well. And he reached out to me and wanted to know, if we can do this welcoming and to welcome everybody there. So as part of Incident's work and part of the Mi'kmaq Nation, yeah, we are very honored that these non-Indigenous organizations come to us and ask, for them to welcome the public or any organization or people to come and welcome them to the territory.
Mm-hmm, for sure. And I guess along with folks who have lived in Unama'ki for years, but also those new to here, how would you best encourage them to learn more about Indigenous folks living here?
Yeah, we see it every day with different meetings going on throughout Nova Scotia and Cape Breton, and everybody's happy with the land acknowledgements. At the beginning of the meetings, it's like, yeah, here we are in the ancestral and unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq. Yeah, that's very thoughtful, and we thank everyone for doing that. But the thing that we are looking for is to create and build relationships. I think that is very key onto educating and to getting to know each other is important. Through Truth and Reconciliation Days, it works kind of like two ways, that we have to get to know each other again and get to know where we come from and to have brighter days ahead, is that we have to learn from one another and get to know each other. So that's, in the case of relationship building, it's very important. And to any non-Indigenous people that want to know more, come to our communities, come to our events, come to our everything that's going on here in the Mi'kmaq communities throughout Mi'kma'ki. They are not particular like just for Mi'kmaq people; they're for the general public, and that's what we want to. The non-Indigenous population do, is to come and see us, build relationships, and get to know one another.
And have some fun in the meantime.
Well, yeah, and we cook really good food, and we really don't charge for that as well. It's always breaking bread with one another and getting to know one another, and that's the beauty of Mi'kma'ki. It's very important, and
how people gather and learn about each other is often through food.
Yeah, that's the truth, and to sit at the same table, to sit down and over a meal, that creates a bond that everybody in the world knows. And when we sit at the same table and eat, and get to know one another. That's part of relationship building, and that's part of truth and reconciliation, is to get to know us, because we have to get to know you as well. So when we have international students coming here, and matter of fact, we have a lot of international students residing here in Mi'kmaq communities throughout Nova Scotia. And they are getting the first-hand knowledge of being immersed in the culture. Why? Because they are living in the Mi'kmaq community and getting to know and hearing the language and hearing the culture and hearing the traditions. And really, that's what, getting to know this country is all about, by, seeing it from the first way is through the Indigenous lens.
The original lens. Now, a quick message from the Cape Breton Partnership.
The Cape Breton Partnership offers several programs designed to help people integrate more fully into Cape Breton Unama'ki. Are you new to the island or want to welcome those who are? The Cape Breton Welcome Network wants to hear from you. There are volunteer welcome groups across Cape Breton Unama'ki. That's the Cape Breton Welcome Network. Be welcomed, belong, be home. Are you a recent graduate or someone looking to make better contacts in your field of work? The Cape Breton Connector program can match you up with someone already immersed in the area of expertise that you wish to enter. Find the Cape Breton Connector program on Facebook today. Be sure to check out our Welcome to Cape Breton website, where you'll not only find this podcast, but lots of great information on living, working, studying, and investing in Cape Breton Unama'ki. That's welcometocapebreton.com. Are you looking for a new job, or do you need to hire some more employees? Visit the Cape Breton Partnership job board for a listing of jobs located all across Cape Breton Unama'ki. That's capebretonjobboard.com. Now back to the podcast with Norma Jean.
Back at the Navratri celebration, the school gymnasium is filled with color and energy. The vibrant clothing of many of the people gathered pop with red, yellow, orange, purple, and green. After Graham's welcome and the Sons of Member Two's performance, the prayer component of the Navratri celebration begins. After the prayer, as Radashk predicted, the dancing began in earnest. Monica is another founder of the Cape Breton Influencers. She's dressed in a bright red sari.
The evening is going very well. We are expecting a good numbers, that 500 plus, and we are supposed to receive the guests very well. The energy level, as you say, it's very high because it's a festival season in India, and rest of the Asian countries we celebrate Diwali, Navratri, and now it's a Dandiya event. So the whole month goes like a festival for Indians.
And we get to enjoy it as well, even those of us that aren't in.
Exactly, because India is also a music and dance. So dance and music is a festival where everyone enjoys, whether it's a Asian, whether it's a European, whether it's North American. So everyone loves music and the high beats.
The high beats, that's a good way to put it. And what's your overall goal and hope for doing this?
We will find that everyone will, over the locals, will welcome the international students and the other persons with open arms. So, and moreover, the international person doesn't feel miss out in the community or miss out their homes. They feel like that this island also welcomes them happily and express their feelings with each other. So it will be a good platform for them. We will learn each other. We will know each other's culture so that we all mingle together to give more growth and career opportunities and the high prosperity to the island. That our motive is that. So we are not growing together alone, we are growing with the others as well.
I scan the room for other people to interview. I see Nita Kumar Britton, someone I've known for years. She's a teacher and used to live just a few blocks away from where this event is happening. She was in her glory.
Well, I'm part of the East Indian community of decades ago. It was very, very tiny. And now, of course, the community has grown immensely. There's more people that kind of look like me than I've ever seen before in Cape Breton, and I find that very exciting.
Nita met Ankit at the YMCA, where he teaches Bhangra dancing.
I go regularly, and he told me about this festival tonight, and I really wanted to come and experience it and have an opportunity to reconnect with my culture.
At one point, Ankit pulled me into the fray of the dance floor.
Okay, ready?
Okay.
Gonna join in.
All right, here we go.
As with the many types of Cape Breton dance, there isn't just one type of Indian dance. And as we wait on the sidelines to jump into the moving perimeter of people dancing, Ankit tells me,
So I don't know either. Let's just jump in, okay?
You don't know either?
No.
Oh,
Okay.
God. Okay.
Come on.
Okay.
now, I love to dance, but anyone who has had the pleasure of watching me try to learn choreographed moves knows that I'm hopeless. But it was still fun to try. One of Ankit's friends showed me the basics, or tried to show me the basics.
Oh, and then do it again. Is this the one you're doing?
No, this is different.
Oh,
This
wow.
is the easy one. Yeah, you can try this. Just one,
Okay, yeah.
yeah, you can join them.
Thank you.
I made one turn around the floor, then left it to the professionals. I stepped out into the hallway again where I met Jen. She's one of the couple of dozen people here who aren't from India. Like my mom and I, she's curious about the celebration. She's here with her boyfriend and excited to take part.
Amazing people, amazing community, really well-rounded people. So really wanted to come out and show my support with them.
She owns the business Hair by Jen in Sydney. She cuts Ankit's hair and is one of the sponsors of the Cape Breton Influencers Group.
And why do you think it's important that something like this is happening here in Sydney?
I like that we get to all come together. So, people that were born and raised in Cape Breton aren't really used to this much exposure. So it's really nice to kind of have these events and have everybody come together.
Nita echoes Jen's sentiments.
I think it's wonderful that those of us who have been around in Cape Breton for a little longer than some of our newer Cape Bretoners are embracing the people that are coming. And I think that just speaks to Cape Breton hospitality and the fact that we're known for being so kind and welcoming and helpful, that we take care of one another. Well, now we're taking care of our new people too. And they're taking care of us by welcoming us into their world.
Both ways. Win-win.
Win-win.
Thanks a lot, Nita.
You're very welcome.
For now, the folks gathered here are just letting those connections happen naturally, the best way it can, with food, dancing, and laughter. Thanks so much for listening. I'm Norma Jean McPhee Zink. This is the first in our series about newcomers to Cape Breton Unama'ki. Stay tuned for future episodes where you'll meet more people from all across Cape Breton Unama'ki, including the recent Immigrant Entrepreneur Chambers of Commerce winners, farmers from Germany who are now living in Southside Bullingry, and many folks across the island busy welcoming their new neighbors. Lots coming up. Wishing you all a super day.